go ahead and just type in the chat or even write down for yourself, what's the feeling that you're feeling most prominently in your body right now? It could be fatigue, it could be joy, it could be exhaustion, it could be too much lunch. I mean, it's a little late for you to still have too much lunch, but no judgment if too much lunch is in there. That happens sometimes. But just however you're feeling. Oh, Bethany, you have gratitude in your heart today. Oh my goodness, that just makes me feel so happy. All right, and we'll get started. So, the magical 301 that I tend to start everything at, I give people only 1 minute of grace time. But we're gonna start off by interlacing fingers in front of you and stretching your arms up very high overhead, reaching up, 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 and taking a really big, beautiful breath here, filling your rib cage, enjoying that deep expression of gratitude for yourself, taking in the air and all that's good, and letting out all that's bad. You can move through it a little bit as well, closing your ribs as you exhale and opening them all up a bit more as you inhale. Seeing if you could bring your hands even a bit farther back, opening up through the front of your body. Lovely. Now we're going to tip to the side a bit. So Hope will lean to her left with her arms up high overhead. And really think about opening the ribs on the right side of her body as she leans to the left. There's an imaginary wall behind her. You could see she just made a few adjustments to try and keep all of the points of her body on that imaginary wall so she's not tipping forward with that top shoulder. She's staying back on the wall. If it feels good, she can even use her left arm to bring her right arm into the stretch a bit more. You can see her right arm is bent there. But if it doesn't feel great for you, you can absolutely skip it. Coming straight on up out of the stretch. Reaching up. If you want to give your shoulders a little bit of a break and let everything relax down in between, you can. We're just going to do the other side next. Going back up and tipping over to the right now, using your breath to open up the ribs on the left side of the body. Using the arms, so bringing your left arm into the stretch even a little bit more, using that right arm to pull yourself in and breathing deeply. Finishing up here, you can always move in and out of the stretch if that's more comfortable for your body. And now taking a few shoulder rolls just to relax. Beautiful. Go back to that interlaced finger position or even just clasping your hands, and we're going to round forward and goalpost your arms back, really arching and rounding. You can synchronize with your breath if it feels good and you like that type of a focus and direction. But if it feels like too much to pay attention to and it doesn't come naturally, isn't enjoyable, you could absolutely skip it. Taking time to be mindful and explore each position. If you would like to hang out in one of the positions for a couple of breaths just to explore that and sink in a little bit deeper, that is also wonderful. So taking the feedback that your body is giving you while you're being mindful and listening to your body, and then respecting it and using it to feel more comfortable. Fabulous. So go ahead, one last shoulder roll, and then we're going to actually clasp our hands behind our back now and draw the knuckles away from the body, really thinking about a nice open chest. From here, with that open front of the body, we're going to nod our head and drop our chin. So just going back and forth between the two motions. You can see as Hope nods her head, she's really reaching her chin up towards the ceiling and then tucking her chin to stretch out the back of her neck. Finding those really deep and juicy, delicious stretches here. If she wants to, while she's reaching her head up towards the ceiling, she could even find a few angles up there. Lovely. And she could do the same thing as her chin reaches towards her chest. She could play with a few angles, finding where she gets more benefit. Awesome. Now come on out of it. Do a couple of shoulder rolls if your shoulders got tense. Then reclasp. And we're going to drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. Hope, can you face us for this one? Fantastic. So keeping the chest open, dropping the left ear towards the left shoulder. If it starts to feel too tense on your shoulders here, you can unclasp your hands and just reach them towards the floor. I know sometimes people's bodies get tired of being in one position for too long, and that is absolutely valid. Playing here with the angles as well, so bringing the head forward and back a bit, tilting nose down towards the ground or up towards the ceiling, all while keeping the ear close to the shoulder. Taking time to breathe here in each position as we explore it. And let's go ahead and do the other side. I love that Hope is taking a few shoulder rolls. Please always feel free to just take a moment and do whatever your body is asking for. If something doesn't feel good that I'm suggesting, substitute with something that does feel good for you. So you can see she's working through the angles again, making sure that your shoulders stay square to the floor underneath you and you aren't tipping over. We're staying balanced here, just leaning the head. So we're really isolating through the neck and the traps here. Beautiful. You can, again, of course, hang out in one position if you like longer holds. You just want to take a few breaths to relax into any angle. Go for it. Go ahead and come on out, unclasping your hands, rolling your shoulders, taking a little counter stretch where needed. Beautiful. We're going to go into eagle arms next. This is borrowed from yoga with much appreciation because this is a lovely stretch. So arms are straight out to the side. You can see Hope is really reaching her arms apart while her head is stacked right on top of the rest of her body. She's then going to bring her arms together, right arm on top of left to start off with, and then either pretzel up or she could put her hands on her shoulders. So that's the pretzel up, that's the hands on shoulders. Beautiful. From here, she's going to go and draw her elbows up a little bit higher, shoulders down a little bit lower, and ears push back. So as her ears push back, she is not tipping her head back. She's just tucking her chin to draw her ears back. Beautiful. And then Hope, will you show us an adjustment from the side? Fabulous. So now we're going to adjust and Hope is going to draw her elbows up even a little bit higher, shoulders down a little bit lower, and ears pushed back, keeping that stack and tucking the chin, resisting the urge to flop the head back. I'm in a meeting. Can you go out, please? She's in a meeting. And from here, we're going to unpretzel. Relax the arms and we'll do the other side. Now the left arm is on top. We'll either pretzel up or hold on to the shoulders depending on what is valuable for you in this moment today. And then we'll adjust, bringing elbows up a little bit higher, shoulders down a little bit lower, ears tucking back. Beautiful. Breathing into it, feeling the different areas that have stretches happening in them. Smiling to those stretches and saying, oh, thank you, muscles. You worked so much for me today and yesterday and the day before that. Fabulous. Take one last really deep breath, enjoying the juiciness of the stretch, and come on out of it. From here, we're going to give our lower body a little bit of a treat. We'll start with the hips. So we're going to do a little bit of a hip mobility just by bringing the feet together underneath you and then standing on one leg, drawing the biggest circle that we can with our one knee. We'll start with the left knee, unless Hope is backwards on my screen, and then it's the right knee. So biggest circles you can. If balance is tricky for you, you can absolutely hold on to something stable. Hope has really great balance, so the fact that she's using a rolly chair isn't a problem for her. And going ahead, experimenting with the other direction here. And you can see Hope is really thinking about the four corners of the stretch and getting her maximum stretch in. So her knees coming up as high as she possibly can, across her body as much as she can, down nice and low and out to the side. So very active mobility here when you're thinking about the four directions of the stretch and all of the different ways that you could be stretching through here. We'll go ahead and switch sides.
My hips are very crunchy, just so everybody knows. They're making lots of noise.
Beautiful, and she is really enjoying every single angle in this circle. Let's reverse direction. And while we're here, just take a moment to be mindful of whatever your body is telling you in the lower body. What's going on in your lower half, through your hips. Maybe you can feel things happening in your feet and ankles because you are moving. Beautiful. And both feet on the floor, we're going to come into a lunge position next. I know sometimes people have grumpy knees or different aspects of this can be difficult for different people. So if you want to have your knees at 90-degree angles, that's great. If you want to have both legs straight and just be forming a little triangle with your feet, that's fine too. If you want to have just the back leg straight, all of it's good. The only important thing that we're going to focus on is tucking through the pelvis. So tucking the tail, tucking your tailbone, keeping your hips square to the floor underneath you and the imaginary wall in front of you. We're going to tuck through the pelvis and really feel that glorious stretch happening through the front of your hip and your hip flexors. Smiling to those muscles that are tight all day long as you're sitting. And breathing into it. If it is a challenging stretch or an uncomfortable stretch for you, I would advise not forcing yourself to do a long hold time, but just moving in and out of it. Lovely. We'll do the other side whenever you're ready. Again, choosing whatever variation worked for you on the other side to keep your body even. Even if you can do a different variation here, just try and keep it even and do the same thing on both sides. Tucking the pelvis and coming into the stretch. Might feel good for you to come in and out of the stretch. Might also feel good for you to explore the depth of the stretch and then feel if you can sink down even a little bit deeper with each breath. So just choosing your own adventure here.
I'll tell you, it doesn't take a lot of pelvic tilt to really feel it because my hips are so tight.
You're in great company with that. One last really deep breath here. And coming on out. And then, because we made a little note to ourselves at the beginning of what we're feeling in this moment today and whatever predominant feeling is going on in our body, make another little note, physical, mental, whatever it is for you, of how you feel right now. And see if this gave you benefit. I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon and a great rest of your day.